Hi guys, it's X. Welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about crazy haunted hospital stories. So I got this idea because my baby cousin texted me recently, and I believe she's only like 10 to 12. And she was like, do you have any crazy hospital stories? And I was like, is this for Girl Scouts? Because I've done a couple of like things for Girl Scouts, like nursing related, CPR, like first aid related. So I was just a little curious, like, what do you mean by crazy hospital stories? Because I'm not trying to tell a 10 to 12-year-old like inappropriate morbid stories. So I'm like, what is this actually pertaining to? And she's like, oh no, I watched this show called Haunted Hospitals and I was just wondering if you had any stories. And I was like, that gives me an idea like for a video. So I'm sorry if you guys are on my channel and usually watch my makeup videos. It's just that right now I'm in my last class for my nurse practitioner license, and I am doing 36 hours of internship a week plus my 36 hours of work week. So it's really hard for me to film and keep up with all the new stuff that I'm reviewing. So I'm sorry if you're here for that. It is just easier for me to make nursing videos because it is my passion, it is my life. So thank you guys for sticking around and still continuing to watch and support my channel even if you're not here for that. But anyway, let's get on to the stories. And before you swipe me away or click me out of this video, please like, comment, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. And a word of thanking you beforehand. My dogs are a mess right now, so I apologize for them interrupting this video. Bye. Haunted hospital stories. The first place that I ever worked at was definitely haunted. I have 3 stories to tell you. Okay, so 2 of the stories I was witness to. One of them I was not, and I vaguely remember it, but it's still a little interesting. So I used to work at this hospital, and adjacent to my unit was the oncology floor, and it was no longer in use. They hadn't been using it for a while. I'm not sure where it moved to or why this unit was empty, but the lights were always still on. So our nurse educator came over to see us and was asking like for these specific chairs that she was looking for the doctors. And we were like, we don't know what chairs you're talking about. Like, we don't have them here. Like, why don't you go to the oncology floor and see if they're still on the nurse's station? So she goes over there, and we're all at the nurse's station. We're hanging out talking. And the nurse educator comes back and she goes, you guys, I went over there and the light was on. We're like, okay, like the light is always on. Okay, like what's the big deal? And she goes, no, I went over there and the call light was on. If you guys are not familiar with the hospital, the call light is the button that you use, that the patients use in order to get the nurse to come. So the light will go on, it'll ring, and like somebody will answer it. So apparently when she was walking by looking for these chairs, so she was walking around looking for these chairs, and the call light happened to go off. So we're like, maybe something's like pressing up against the call light. And she's like, no, nothing is pressing up the call light. Like, I went over there and the call light is sitting neatly on top of the pillow. So every time they clean a room, EVS always makes the bed and has it ready for the patient to just like wheel in. So my other coworker was like, I don't believe you. Like, there has to be something going on, like some miswiring or something. So she goes over there, they turn off the call light, they're starting to walk out. As they're walking through the door, the call light goes on again. And my coworker was like, okay, hold on. Like, I turned it off this time. I'm here. Like, something is going on. Like, something's wrong. So she goes, she turns it off again. And as they're walking out again, it goes off. And she's like, you know what? Forget it. So she went and she like unplugged it, and they walked out, and she came back freaking out. She's like, I don't know what the hell was going on in there. But apparently it was this like room of a patient who had been there for a very, very, very long time, way before I had worked there. And they like knew this room as that patient's room. So they were like all a little freaked out, like, maybe it's the ghost of that patient. But it was definitely a like crazy experience, like to be there and being like, holy crap, like I heard it from the other unit, but it was pretty far. So it was just crazy. The next story I have, I was told, I wasn't there for, but we worked on the 2nd floor, and there was my coworker said that there was this like balloon that had floated out of the elevator, and then slowly, like he like looked in the hallway and saw it like slowly floating to and down the hallway and then flew into this patient's room. And he said that it was like the most eeriest, creepiest thing he'd ever seen. It was almost as if like somebody was holding the balloon and like walking it down the hallway and like into this patient's room. They're destined to ruin my videos. Okay, the last haunted story that I have for you, I was witness to half of it. So I had this coworker who was a really cool guy that was on the day shift, and we had a patient. So the way the unit was it kind of like was a square, but in the middle was the nursing station. So we had a patient that was in like this far room over here, and then there's like this other room over here that's like opposite of it. And so one of the patients happened to pass away that day. And so now it's like nighttime, it's quiet, we're sitting in the nurse's station, and I hear a patient like talking, giggling, and then like laughing. And I looked at the nurse because I didn't take care of this patient that day, but I had her previously. And she was like, who is she talking to? And I was like, I have no idea. Like, is anyone in there? And so she walked by and she goes, who are you talking to? And she goes, the lady that's like sitting right there. So we had chairs in the rooms, in the corners. And so she goes, there's nobody there. And I've taken care of this patient before. You had to really, really, really like get close to their ear and yell, like, do you have pain? Like you really, really, really had to use your voice in order for this person to hear you. So when we heard her talking to somebody, we were like a little freaked out because we were like, she's very hard of hearing. Like, how can she, who is she talking to? We don't hear another voice. So she definitely, like, then when the nurse asked her, like, who are you talking to? And she said, like, the lady right there clearly was not anyone in the room. And she goes, yeah, the lady right there. And she wants to know what happened to the patient that died earlier. What? Like, hold on. Like, how do you know about the patient that died earlier? So we were like, you know what? Happened to be a coincidence that the day shift nurse that took care of this old lady happened to be the nurse that took care of the patient who had passed away that day. So he comes in the morning and he's like, you know, strolling in, cool guy. And we're like, hey, Bob is what I'm going to call him because I don't want to like throw his name out there. And we're like, Bob, by any chance, did you talk? This is like against the law. Like, you can't talk about another patient in another patient's room. But we're like, is there any way, because this person's like hard of hearing, that you like, talked about the patient who passed away in the room? And he's like, no, why would I do that? Like, I would never do that. And we were like, okay, like, because we heard her speaking to somebody last night and she said that it was some lady who clearly wasn't there, so obviously it was probably a ghost. And she specifically said, like, she wants to know what happened to the patient that died. And I think she even said the room number. I swear, Bob dropped everything and was like, turned around and was like, what? No, like, there's no way. He's like, and that patient passed away hours before this patient like ever got admitted to this floor. And I was like, okay, like, that is crazy. Like, it was just, could it be a coincidence? I don't know. Like, I've definitely taken care of that patient who just got like readmitted many times before, and I knew that they were very, very, very hard of hearing. So even if he happened or somebody happened to be walking by the room or like talking about it, like, there's no way she could have heard it unless you were like screaming in her ear. So that is my crazy like haunted hospital stories. If you guys have any crazy haunted hospital stories, like, comment down below, and see you on the next one. Bye.